Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. Your faithful puppet correspondent in the field comes to you this week beaten, bruised, and cast down, but never killed. No, never killed. I regretfully missed my appointment with you last week, my loyal viewers, out of unplanned medical hardship, and one that I will give details of soon, the hardship that sidelined me all the same. And it seems that during my time of medical hardship, we all got to see a sickening side of the corrupted American political system, one that should never be allowed to raise its ugly head ever again. Let me repeat, ever again. You see, my friends and compatriots, this is, after all, something we in the United States of America call our Memorial Day holiday, the day we celebrate the ultimate sacrifice that so many military veterans so gracefully gave to each of us living Americans, so that we could enjoy a land of the free and home of the brave. And at this time of the year, I am oft reminded of the age-old motto, some gave all, and am deeply ingratiated and humbled at the same time. I am also keenly aware, folks, and hope that each of you are also, that this happens to be the 2026 primary election season in the USA, and am especially troubled with the results that came out of Kentucky, more specifically its 4th Congressional District. They seem to have voted for an unknown candidate completely for the upcoming November 2026 general election in Ed Gowring. Now, it would be far too easy for one to state that Thomas Massie, the incumbent, was merely the victim of his own success, just now finishing up his 7th consecutive term in office. However, please allow this puppet to state that that would do a great disservice to the crimes just committed blatantly and for all to see, with no fear or remorse whatsoever by the moneyed perpetrators. This cannot be explained away, friends and neighbors, as those hungry for term limits finally having their way in the primaries. Not at all. There is something much more deep-seated and pernicious at work here. Please hear me out. Well, I must state that while I am from another state, I did not necessarily follow the congressional career of Representative Massie. I do also hear periodically how patriots like him often vote for the things that truly matter to American citizens. And friends and colleagues, it seems he riled the dictator in charge when he voted against Donald Trump's short-term government funding bill in March of 2025. Remember, folks, that this puppet said only 2 short weeks ago about the supposedly ability of Trump to quickly forgive and forget the perpetrators of the July 13th, 2024 supposed assassination attempt on himself. But here he is making a political foe pay over a year past his supposed crimes against Der Fuhrer. Again, I make my case. It does not add up for a minute in our understanding of the Trumpster. Now, does it? Ha ha ha, aunts and uncles. I think we are all grown up enough here to all see the supposed assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania was indeed a farce, or something very smelly in the least. But back on topic. I think we all see clearly now the large amounts of money reported into Kentucky's 4th Congressional District for the recent primary elections that were held there. And folks, it is now apparent that much of the money came from well-known Israeli Jewish lobbying group AIPAC. You see, Mr. Massie had voted against funding for Israel over needs of his constituents, unlike so many other congressional members. In fact, he was also outspoken against the recent war between USA, Israel, and Iran. He plainly saw no need to waste American resources on wars that mainly benefit a foreign nation that largely does nothing to benefit the USA. We need so many more congressional representatives like Mr. Massie. Yes, we do. And to top things off, Representative Massie stood firmly in his beliefs that the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and his myriad criminal co-conspirators needed to be fully given their justice, and that all perpetrators in the heinous crimes committed against these also needed to be fully exposed to the United States public, if not further prosecuted. And that, kids and cousins, riled the blood pressure of one Donald J. Trump like nothing else. We all saw plainly the wrath that befell former MAGA firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene just last year when she eventually stepped down from her congressional post in Georgia, largely due to defamation and slander thrown squarely at her character for simply calling for the full release of all Epstein files and evidence. What would have led any of us believe that this was going to be any different this time around with another former MAGA backer, Congressman Massie, one who cried out for justice of the victims of the Epstein Island conspirators? Something we have all been aware of, friends and family, since last year, is that Donald Trump has a vested interest in making absolutely certain that many of the molesters are kept hidden from the American populace and at any and all costs. Make no bones about it. Worth mentioning and noting also is the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, a Jew himself, had deep ties to the Israeli government, who also hugely funded AIPAC. Just saying. So where does the supposedly free and democratic nation go now that one of its most important congressional representatives in recent history has now been offed by the Israeli mafia? Yes, there really is no other way to paint it, folks. It is what it is. And with the president in the White House who has largely derided rigged elections, my guess is, though, that you will not hear so much as a peep from the mouth of one Donald Trump regarding this primary result, other than his trademark gloating about another political opponent who bit the dust. For those still drunken on the smell of his cologne, neither a question shall be asked. And that is the larger concern here. There still are so many Trump lovers who hang on his every word, never question a single action from the man, and also think that his fecal matter smells like roses. You know who I'm talking about? Yes, you do. Anyway we slice it, this paints a dire picture for the supposedly free and democratic United States of America, kids and cousins. We see a president before our very eyes who ran a no-war platform, who has seemingly swooned to the Jewish money arm of the Republican Party and is now their lapdog, just as presidents past have turned out to be. Money is a very powerful drawing force, my viewers, whether we admit it or not. At this point in time, it is very easy to see the glaring holes that the Founding Fathers left in our Constitution, and here we sit the victims of wealthy foreign interest, with little at all that any of us can do against it. The very elected representatives supposed to represent our best interest are now largely paid to look the other way, and this includes criminals from both major parties, like it or not. We all thought that Trump was the antithesis of the moneyed, corrupt political machine that came before him. But the mounting evidence says otherwise. Yes, it does. Shame on all of us for falling for the ruse. Good night, my loyal viewers, and sleep well.